Gotta love it when the soundboard screws up. Hi, how you doing? Your producer here at the Full Circle Radio Network, Joseph J. Alexander, back at you with another episode of Catharsis. It's going to be one of those nights, folks. So if you're drinking with me, I'm drinking. We're drinking. We're all drinking. Have your proper glassware. It's going to be one of those. Because, yeah, certain things kind of hitting me today. And, well, the wife is away for 10 days. So y'all are my vent to the world. Anyways, we all know it's the holiday season. Holiday season sucks, doesn't it? Biggest part, I think, most people will say it's near the top of their list, if not at the top, is dealing with family. That's Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's, like that's a family I don't want to see, and especially in such tense times as these. Understandable. You see, for the most part, I don't have that problem, and it's not the whole my family gets along great. No, I just I'm not in contact with a lot of my family, not blood relatives. There's reasons for that, which is what I wanted to get into in general. So, slight backstory for you. On paper, I have two half sisters. My father is deceased. My mother, as far as I know, is still alive. The two half sisters from the previous marriage, I'll get to. I haven't spoken to my mother in almost 7 years. I haven't seen her in almost 9. That's by my choice. Some people say you gotta walk away sometimes. That's what happens. I'm here to tell anyone that, yeah, the dog decided to join me. Everyone say hi to Titus Alexander. Say hi, Titus. That's my boy. Yeah, he'll probably be there for the duration in and out. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to not have to deal with family. I said on the previous episode, I'm not a fan of the word toxic just because it gets overused, but it's okay if you have family that it's just not healthy for you to not be around. It's all right. I know the holidays can be lonely. That's why I mentioned on the last episode, if you've got, one good friend who is always there, check in on them. Make sure they're doing okay. And I'm trying to be diplomatic right now because once I get going, it's going to be a shitstorm. How do I put this? I've also said I will never shove my religious path down anyone's throat, and I won't. I will say that in my practice, I put a great reverence on honoring the dead, paying homage to our ancestors who came before us, whether it be hundreds of years ago or those who were part of our lives. I believe that the dead should be respected if they earned it. And this is where everyone's going to turn on me. You know that saying, don't speak ill of the dead? It's a crock of shit. When I am recording this, it is December 11th, 2024. I see my social media today decided to remind me of something. See, 11 years ago on this day, one of those two half sisters shuffled off this mortal coil. And I'm here to say that I wasn't sorry about it then, and I'm not sorry about it now. Why? Because she wasn't a good person. Some people need to realize that just because someone dies doesn't automatically make them a saint or a martyr. If a person was a horrible person in life, they don't get that get out of jail free card once they die, especially if they leave a ripple effect that is still happening years after their passing. Let me tell you a little story. I would do anything for that sister. When I was growing up, both of them were a bit older than me. One of them went off to college and got married, and she was 10 years older than me, and that was it. She cut the whole family out when I was 13, including me. She said she would always be there for me, and then she cut me out. Now, her reason was she couldn't be around the toxicity of my mother, which, okay, I get that, but you cut the whole family out. Still hurts a little bit. But no. So the other one actually, she got the boot when she was 18 because she did a lot of shit she shouldn't have done. But she was living on her own. She was local. She knew that I wasn't in the greatest place, so she would constantly get me out of the house. Spend many a time crashed on her sofa, depending on where she was living. She moved around a lot because she got evicted a lot because she never paid her fucking rent. See, back in the day, kids, landlords didn't do credit checks, you see. And I'm pretty sure the deceased in question, I'm pretty sure she holds a record. She has at least 12 evictions I can count of. Like, yeah. And that's a lot of helping someone move every 4 to 5 months. Anyways, so because she was quote unquote there for me and quote took me out of the situation, she felt I owed her a debt, which she cashed in on a lot. There's a lot of guilt tripping, a lot of gaslighting. When someone in their mid-20s is gaslighting a 14-year-old, we got issues. But hey, whatever. But then she got pregnant. Now, granted, the guy she was with, she was in a long-term relationship with. She had been with him for 5-6 years at that point. And she got pregnant. She had a kid. It was my nephew. Great little kid too. Here, I'll share something with you. I'll give you a little taste. You see, that's me and him. He was only a couple months old. Yeah, that's that was a lifetime ago. Yeah. Anyways. So she had the kid. She was not a good mother. I mean, when you're getting evicted from everywhere left and right, you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of a kid. So evidently, you know who ended up raising the kid? Not the daddy. No, why? Because she got the daddy arrested and deported. And that's a whole other bag of worms. I'm not saying he was completely innocent, but I'm not getting into it. But she was not a good mother. I was 16 years old, raising an infant. Anytime I wasn't working, like she would, she would bring the kid over, and of course, my mother was the doting grandmother at first, but I was changing diapers, I was giving the kid a bath, you know, wake up at 2 a.m. He's colicky, helping, all that stuff. That was me. That was me. I'm not saying I did it alone, but I did a lot of it. I raised a kid that wasn't mine, and I was doing so while in school and working. That kid's going to be 30 next year. And he has turned out fucking wonderful. But there's a reason he did. A few years later, she had another kid. At that time, we weren't speaking because in the interim, what happened was old JJ here kind of got hip to the real world. High school was over. Ended up going and running my father's business for him because he was in very ill health. He didn't live to see 56. I did what I did what I could, and I had to go run my father's store. Why? Because when she was working there, she was stealing left and right. Both money out of the till and product. My father ran a liquor store, ladies and gentlemen. There was a lot of partying going on at my sister's apartment from 8:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. every fucking weekday. And then she's hungover. Guess who has to go open the store? After getting the kid ready and to daycare, then go to the store and open it. That was me. She loved to fucking party. Alcohol and other substances. Lots of other substances. My sister was not a good person. She had another kid after I had a falling out. But let me back it up. Let me back it up to the falling out. The big one, the big falling out. Because there were a few. You see, the other sister that I mentioned, I haven't spoken to her nor seen her in 13 years. She lives 2 minutes from my house. Seriously, we live in the same fucking town. But you see, she decided that, cut the toxic out. But then, when things were going badly because my father was in a bad place and the junkie sister was doing criminal activity behind my back that I didn't know and then tried to pin it on me. And my father went after me for it because he was lied to. That's something that was reconciled before he passed. Don't worry. We called upon the other sister for help. And she came in and she said, listen, I know you're going through a lot. She's like, I'm going to help you guys out. I'm going to help you set you up in an apartment so you get away from dad. He can figure his own stuff out. Call this person. You can get a job here. She told me I could get a job on the shipping docks at this place. Going to help out, yada, yada, yada. Okay. That was December of 99. I was fully aware. I was fully prepared that come January, I was going to walk out on my father because this sister said that they were going to help me start my life over. And if you're starting your life over at the age of 19, it's kind of hard. No one should be starting their life over at 19. You should be starting your life. You should be in college. I didn't afford it. I couldn't afford that luxury. And what happens is, right before Christmas, or I think it was during the week of Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. I have a phone conversation with the older sister, and basically she gets fed a pack of lies about me. And I don't know what was said. I do know that she probably misconstrued things, but you see, she was a big Jesus freak. I'm not. So, of course, that means I worship the devil. Automatically means I worship the devil. Boom. I'm left on my own. She sets the other sister up in an apartment. No job. Pays first month in security, sets her up, gets her furniture. And does that. What happens to me come January 1st, 2000? I'm hopping couches, sleeping in outdoor areas, hoping I don't freeze to death, roaming the streets, homeless. Because I walked out on my father because I was told that she was going to help us out, and then she double-crossed me. Because of either... it was probably a combination of the fact of I was who I was, but also that the addict told her a bunch of lies. So to be like, oh, just get me a place. So what happens? The two of them have a falling out only a few months later. I end up having a roommate who contacts the addict out of the blue because situations that we don't need to talk about. The addict says, I just had neck surgery because that was an ongoing thing. She had a car accident when she was younger, and she she had to have neck surgery. It was a big lawsuit type thing, yada yada. She had neck surgery in late May, early June of 2000. The roommate that I had decided, I don't want to be your roommate anymore. Your sister told me that she needs you. So what do? I swallow my pride and I go to take care of this person again, to take care of their person and my nephew. It was more for my nephew because she's a horrible parent. I got to be there for the kid. Living in a 1-bedroom apartment, 3 people. I slept on the couch. The kid had a race car bed in this row long room. Whatever, she had her own bedroom. Oh, that's right. I wasn't allowed to sleep on the couch. I had to sleep on the floor because the couch couldn't hold my weight, according to her. It's kind of shit that happened. And then one day, I come back and she's fucking gone. I got a job. I come back from work, she's fucking gone. She took half the apartment with her. Left me holding the bag. I get a knock on the door a couple days later. It's the woman who works for the agency that owns the building. Looking for her, telling me that she's 4 months behind on rent. Gee, this sounds familiar. I work out a deal with this person to stay in the apartment. And I start giving her money weekly to try to pay off the debt that the addict left. So I would have a place to stay because I wasn't about to go homeless again. And what happens? A couple months into me being there and doing this, she comes back. She breaks in to take whatever stuff she didn't take before and to wreck my shit. Why? I don't know why. But I caught her in the act. Some words were exchanged. She took a fucking swing at me. I called the police because I'm not about to hit a woman. I call the police, mind you. I say, my apartment was just broken into. There's this person. They attacked me. I didn't hit back because I don't do that. Well, what do I get? Oh, well, they're related to you. So this is domestic. So it has to go to family court and we have to arrest both of you on breach of peace. Gee, fucking thanks. Now I somehow have a record because of this bitch. I go to family court, let them know I'm the one that filed the charges. I got attacked. I didn't swing, yada, yada. She almost fails to appear for it. She shows up the last possible minute. I'm in the other room because I want nothing to do with her. They're like, you were supposed to be here at 9 a.m. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. 1,000 excuses, yada, yada, whatever. We're done. Because I ended up losing that apartment to a fire. Another story for another day. Fast forward a couple years. I'm at Christmas. Holidays. Hi, it's the holidays. Here we are. Full circle. I am with a girl who I was engaged to at the time. She hadn't met any of my family because I lived on my own. So we went and saw some of her family that day. And she decided to come meet some of my family. Go to my grandmother's house. My mother's mother. The old Irish half of the family. I walk in. There's my mom. We're on talking terms a bit at this point. We're kosher. There's my grandmother. There's a couple of my uncles. I haven't seen family in a while. This is great. Then out from the bedroom. Here walks the addict with another child. And here comes my nephew trotting off afterwards. Uncle Joey, that's my sister. I know, kid. I know. I get a really guff Merry Christmas. Okay, we're going to play that game. All right. Whatever. I grit my teeth. I bear it. Not putting up with her. Done and done. I go on my way. About a year and a half later, I don't know exactly what happened, but she decided to bury the hatchet. I don't exactly know why I fell for it. Because by this time I was like done. But she needed help once again. It was after she had won her lawsuit for her neck. So she had money. So now, because she had money, she wanted to go play. But you can't go play when you got 2 kids. You need someone to take care of those kids. You need someone to drive those kids around. Drive them to the doctor's office, drive them to daycare, drive them to school, go do the grocery shopping. Oh, I'm still recovering. I need your help. I had another surgery. I have all these spots in my spine that they have to give me injections in daily. I need your help. Please. So what happens? I do it for the kids. I lose the apartment I was in. Once I was living in a little ass efficiency, but it was mine. It was tiny. It was the size of this room. I don't care. It was mine. I give that up to go take care of her kids. And then everything starts circling again. Landlord shows up, all pissed off. Where's my fucking rent? There's a dent in the garage door. They blame me. I'm like, I just got here, bro. Stupidity. This chick, she was expecting a couple of $1 million from this lawsuit. At the end of it, she got $100,000, and her lawyer put it in a structured settlement because he knew that she couldn't be trusted. So she was supposed to get $25,000 a year for 4 years. She got her first check in August of that year. By Christmas, that $25,000 was gone. And this was back in 2003. Not now. 2003. And it wasn't on a car or stuff like it was on stupid shit. It was let's go to the toy store and buy buy my nephew everything possible to shut him up and spoil him, to the point where when I would take my nephew out in public, he would throw tantrums because I wasn't buying him something. And it wasn't his fault. He was a kid. This is what he got used to. And like I said, to this day, he's the way he grew up. I'm so fucking proud of him. Bunch of shit hits the fan again. The father of the second kid is an addict himself who is in and out of jail. I want nothing to do with him. I told her the first time I saw him in person, I don't like this fucker and keep him away from me. The only reason she met him was because she was selling pills to his mother. That type of shit. That type of white trash shit. By this time, my nephew's in elementary school. He's got ADHD. They put him on Adderall. She's selling his Adderall to baby daddy's mom so she can fucking snort him. And then I find that he's out of his pills, and I go to Walgreens and go, he needs his prescription. His prescription is not due for another 3 weeks, sir. What? Walgreens screwed up. Walgreens stole the pills. No, you sold the fucking pills. Got fed up. She took a swing at me again. I said, that's it, I'm out. Went. And at the time, my father needed help. Moved back home. At that time, my mother was back home too. They had separated for a while. Story for another day. But so I moved back home. Me, the girl I was dating at the time, living in my basement, back where I started. I had apartments of my own that I gave up, that I lost. My life was progressing on its own. And I kept coming back to take care of this. She would sit there instant messaging me at night. I had to block her on AOL Instant Messenger. That's how old this is. When are you going to come back here? I need help. Please. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I can't be a father to your fucking kids. I've already done it so much that I've given up my own life to do it. That's not what I'm asking for. Yes, it's exactly what you're asking for because you're a terrible fucking parent. And sure enough, not soon after that, within 6 months, Department of Children and Families, ma'am, open up. Kids were taken. Kids were put in foster care. By a stroke of luck, the people who the people who fostered my nephew and niece actually were old acquaintances of my father, and they lived 5 minutes down the road from us. So I could still see them. And they let us see them. We're like, yeah, here's family. Go right ahead. Were they the greatest foster parents in the world? That's not my thing to judge. I know this. I know that they kept a roof over their heads and they adopted them. They ultimately adopted them. The addict, on the other hand, she popped out another kid with another guy. Or no, sorry. She popped out another kid with the criminal. Sorry. Comes skulking back to my parents' house after my father was put in hospice care. Or no, my father wasn't in hospice care yet, but he was getting there. And my mother was there, and she had popped out another kid. Here we go. Start this whole cycle over again. Start the whole, here we go. She had 2 kids taken away. Now she's got this kid, but DCF is on her. Because they're like, we already took 2 of your kids. She's got this kid, yada, yada. She fails a drug test. They take the kid away. She tries to claim, I took the wrong cough syrup. I went to take this cough syrup that my doctor gave me, but I grabbed one of the old bottles in the fridge and it had codeine in it. And so it gave me a dirty urine. Kid gets taken away. Then I find out that she's taking out credit cards in my father's name. Maxes them out. Finger hut. That's how dumb my sister is. Was. Half sister. She gets caught because the bills come to the fucking house. She tries to have me take the rap for it. She asks me to take the rap for it, thinking I was taking them out in my name. They go by your social security number. She had it because at one time she had power of attorney over my father and stole a bunch of money from him. Nope. But hey, and then what happens? She's gone again. I have a falling out with my mother. My father dies. I try to reconcile with my mother. I actually was the bigger person. When my father was in the hospital in the weeks before he died, I was the bigger person who contacted the oldest sister, who had cut off the whole family, and said, listen, Dad's not going to make it much more. You need to come here. And at the time, I wasn't talking to my mother at all. And I sat there in the waiting room and faked being asleep at 2:00 in the morning while the two of them reconciled. Because I still wasn't talking to my mother at the point. Why? Another reason, another story, another day. Broken homes are broken homes. They remain broken no matter what. You can't fix a broken home. It's like a crack in the foundation of a house. Once it's there, you can patch it all you want. It's never going to be the same. So then, oh, look, my mother and the oldest sister rekindle their relationship. Mom and her favorite. Always was her favorite. This was her first. You know, parents say they don't play favorites. Oh, she played favorites. So yeah, mom and her favorite reconciled. And that's great because she got 2 kids. She got 2 sons. Mom can be grandma all over again and not worry about when she can see the kids because DCF is controlling it. The addict, she got arrested. Files got charged for credit fraud. She got arrested for credit card fraud. She went to jail. Kid got taken away. Kid got adopted, renamed. Never seen the kid since. I go on my way. My father dies. I reconcile with my mother because he died. Still not really talking to the oldest sister because I'm the devil. Let me ask you this. If I'm so evil, why did I contact her so she could give her last respects to my father? Not even her birth father, but the man who raised her. If I'm so fucking evil, why would I have done that? Right now, me saying those words is the first time I've ever acknowledged that as a thought process. So it's not like it was my gotcha back then of, see, I'm really a nice person. I did it because it was the right fucking thing to do. Because my father put up with a lot of shit. And my father busted his ass to make sure we had a roof over our heads. My father did a lot of illegal activities to make sure the bills were paid. But he did it because he cared. The only solace that I have is while he was there on a ventilator and couldn't talk and had to point to letters on a chart to spell out words, he let me know that it wasn't me who took out fake credit cards in his name. That was the only solace I got. So then what happens? Year or so passes. She has my cell phone number because I have had the same cell phone number since 2005. I've never changed my cell phone number. She calls and leaves me a voicemail. She had another fucking kid with some random guy. And she named him Joey. After his grandfather, not his uncle. I never return the call because I don't fucking care. You fucked my life so many times. I have nothing good to say to you. And what you're calling me? So I guarantee whoever you're with is a fucking scumbag. And you want someone, you want someone to raise your fucking kid for you. Not happening. I had my own life at the time. I had a job in upper management. I had an apartment. I had my life back. I had my life. It wasn't the happiest, but it was mine. It was my fucking life. I was living for me. Motherfucking me. And then my fucking mother gets hurt at work. She has me doing grocery shopping for her, doing this, that, the other thing. She worked in a kitchen. She got burned. And she fell down a flight of stairs. So she panics about being near a stove. Shit like that. So what happens? I give up my life and I move in to take care of my mother. I move back home, my childhood house. Living in the goddamn basement. Taking care of my mother. Because no one else is going to take care of her because someone's taking care of her whole life. My dad made sure that she was always taken care of. My dad's gone. Who's going to do it? My job now. Of course, I get gaslit and told that I did nothing for her. Yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. You got an abusive relationship with a family member. It's always the same. It's always the same song and dance. You do everything for them. They claim you did nothing for them. What quid pro quo? What did I do for this? What did you do for that? Yada, yada. I left a roof. I kept a roof over your head. Yeah, I literally did everything for you to make sure that you could fucking survive. And you were doing that before I moved back. Like, I had my own apartment and I was going out in a snowstorm to do your fucking grocery shopping. Like, I wasn't keeping tabs. You were. Then 2011, my medical issues start. Maybe someday I'll give you all the details, but short end. Staph infection. Go into the ER. Doctor puts me in for surgery. I lose a little bit of my left foot. They don't do a washout. Staph infection remains. Mutates into MRSA. Been stuck with it ever since. Every problem I have resorted from that. Almost 14 years, 53 surgeries. And in that time, I'm recovering. I'm still taking care of my mother. Because she never went back to work. She couldn't. She couldn't do kitchen work anymore. So she never went back to work. So I'm taking care of her. You know, she's getting Social Security widow's benefits. I'm taking care of all her other stuff. She goes and does. I'm going off on a tangent here about her that I don't need to. Needless to say, one day I find out she's short selling the house behind my back. I've got X amount of days to vacate and find a new place. My whole life gets upheaved again. She scores a spot in the senior housing community 10 minutes down the road. You know, it's an efficiency-ish apartment, but it's costing her $300 a month. She's got a place to go. I don't. But a little before that, I get a phone call one night. I was still recovering from one of the first surgeries, I remember. Because I remember the person on the phone saying certain things, and but it was December. It was December 11th. Full circle. I get a phone call. here's something I didn't tell y'all, because it's going to sound real fucking weird unless I explain this. My mother married a guy. She had 2 daughters with him. They divorced. He went to jail. She started dating and subsequently married his older brother. Need to get that out of the way so I can say I get a phone call and it's Uncle Tony, the 2 sisters' actual birth father. Who, I mean, it is what it is. We've spoken on a few occasions. We've seen each other on a few occasions. We're not close. Whatever. And he tells me that she's dead. I didn't shed a tear. I actually had a sigh of relief, because I had grown so accustomed, I had grown so fucking tired of worrying every time an unknown number pops up on my phone that it's her trying to find me, to try to leech off me again, to try to upheave my entire life again. She called me 2 days after my father died. She called collect from prison. I accepted the call because, why didn't anyone tell me Dad died? Why didn't anyone tell you? Because you're in jail because you took out credit cards in his fucking name. That's why. And the only reason you're not still in jail is because the person who filed the charges died. So the charges got dropped and you got released. You got fucking lucky. He was my father, not yours. But yeah, told me she was dead. I was like, well, that's a shame. I don't know what she died of, but I can guarantee you it was probably drug related. Because, like I said, all she liked to do was fucking party. She was missing teeth the last time I saw her. That's a sign of either meth or crack. Doesn't surprise me. And left behind is this kid who was a toddler at the time with this father who was a raging alcoholic, as I come to find out. And they were living with his mother. They were living in a mobile home on the backyard of the mother's property. Some super white trash shit. Had the funeral. Here's what really pissed me off about the funeral. And I know it shouldn't, and it may seem petty, but at the same time, ugh. So they have the funeral. But none of us were paying. I don't know who paid for it. I know I didn't pay for it. She got cremated, which is really weird because we have the service inside of St. Thomas's Church, and it's a Catholic church. And if you get cremated, the Catholic Church doesn't like you. Whatever. Dreary December day. I gave my mother a ride, and I gave my nephew and niece a ride. Or no, my niece wasn't there. I gave my nephew a ride. Do the inside service. Everyone talks up like she was so wonderful, as you do at funerals, no matter if they were a bastard or not. Go to the cemetery. This is my problem. We had a family plot at this cemetery in the town I grew up in. There's only so many spots in a family plot. That's the plot where my grandfather and my father, both namesake as me, are buried. There was one spot left in that plot. And it was the only reason there was one spot was because my great uncle moved the plot. He bought a dual plot in another cemetery near his son that had died for him and my great aunt. So there was one spot left. Uncle Angelo wanted me to have that spot. Not going to fucking happen now because someone's urn is buried there. And I know that once we're dead, wherever our body ends up it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but no matter what happens on this earth, I know that anyone can go to that plot and see generations. And now there's a generation that's not going to be there. Because this fucking addict had to fucking give me one last middle fucking finger and take that fucking spot away from me. To this day, there's no fucking footstone. So only family members know she's there. And of course, the cemetery itself, who will say that plot's full. But in one last act of fucking pettiness, she fucks me over one last time. I know a lot of people have their own mental health issues. I know there's a lot of people out there, and growing up, this wasn't a term that we knew about, but a lot of people have PTSD, and rightly so. There wasn't a term growing up for it. It was anxiety or it was stress or whatever, but yeah. I still have PTSD fucking bouts where I wake up in the night in a cold sweat because she shows up in a fucking dream. And I have to sit here and I have to play like a Hindu mantra to try to calm myself down. Because she was such an awful fucking person that it still haunts me. That even though I know she's been dead for a decade, I'm afraid my phone's going to fucking ring and it's her. Because she was that terrible of a person who fucked me over so many fucking times. I'm in a comfortable spot now. I'm a homeowner. I got a great fucking dog. I got a woman who loves me. I got a nephew that's going to be 30 who's got a bachelor's degree and is going for doing graduate work at Harvard, who's done internships in DC, who is making the world a better fucking place through the things that he's doing. And even he knows that he's not a product of her. He's a product of, and it's not just me, but it's me and everyone else who made sure that in spite of her, we made sure that he did well. And I know that there's someone else that I haven't spoken about a lot in this video. And it's not that I'm forgetting them, but I'd like to mention because my niece. And she's 21 now. She's still figuring out life. And she knows I love her. But she, every year when this comes around, and this is what set me off, she made a post talking about how much I miss my mom, this, that, the other thing, and how I couldn't wait to turn 18 so I could have a relationship with her and blah, blah, blah. It's rose-tinted glasses. And that's coming from someone who is literally wearing rose-tinted glasses. She was not a good person. And if she cared about you, she would have been a better parent. Your brother got it right when he said, the only thing he asked from DCF was to confront her and say, why did you screw up my life so bad? You hardly knew her. And whether, like, here's something dead fucking, here's something dead to rights that you're never going to want to fucking hear. But when people put people on a pedestal and martyr them, shit like this needs to come out. And we had a conversation the night before he graduated high school. I told you about all the awful things that she had done. None of that's changed. Those stories haven't changed. Those stories are canon. But when she was a toddler, and she was rougher to get through than my nephew. And it's like, my nephew was, he was colicky. She was colicky. She was lactose intolerant, and she had severe eczema. So a lot, when you got a baby that's got severe eczema and they get a wet diaper, you got to change it right away. Like, she was neglected before I came along. And at a year and a half, almost 2 years old, running around, dancing to the music I was playing, she would point at me and say, "Daddy." And I would have to say, "No, Uncle Joey." She would call me Daddy. Why? Because Daddy was in jail. Now I'm here raising his kid. Do I regret a minute of it? No. I just know that two severely different paths have been taken in the stead. And I love my niece to death, but even though she hardly knew her mother, she acts a lot like her at times. And it's not too late to stop that. It's not too late. But sitting here and idolizing her is not the right route to go. And then, because I got to bring this up too, because I saw this, because I read the comments, because this is what happens every time I go on a Twitter rampage, or now that I just decided to pop up the camera and do Catharsis, I read the comments. My dumb ass reads the comments. And there is the other sister. "I miss her so much. My heart aches on this day." Blah, blah. Really? Really? You sure about that? Because as I recall, ooh, here comes reality. Here comes reality. I hate Eminem, but back to reality. How comes gravity? Okay, so if you missed her that much, and how come was it? Let me see here. Let me rewind that tape. Hold on. Well, hold on. I got that sound. Rewind that tape back to the winter of 2000 when you set her up in an apartment, and then shit happens. Then what happens? The two of you get in a screaming match, and you get into a fucking punching match, and you jack her up against the fucking wall, strangling her. And then you called the police on yourself. I think I don't know about that. You two had started talking on a regular basis again for all of 3 months. And you came to physical blows after not speaking for years. "But I miss my sister." You're fucking fake. You're so fucking fake. You are so, and it's funny because that's one of the things that the addict used to tell me. She used to be like, "She's so uppity." She got that right. I'll give her that. By the way, I noticed you've been stalking my Facebook. It's not really smart to like photos when you're not one of my Facebook friends. Yeah, I know my shit's public. My shit's public because I do podcasts. Don't think I haven't noticed. Like I said, I know you've been stalking me the whole time. I knew you were stalking me the moment I made the post in 2018 about how they're going to hack my leg off in 48 hours. And within 10 minutes, my phone's ringing and it's my mother. And that's the last conversation I had with her. Like I said, you live less than 5 minutes from me. For all you know, I may have driven by your house several times. I'm not saying casing the joint. I'm just saying in my travels. You have two children who don't know my fucking name. Legit. She's got 2 sons who would come over when I was taking care of my mother, who would come over to visit grandma and only knew me as the guy that lives downstairs. And you know something? As much as it fucking sucks, I'll take a toddler calling me daddy over that any day. Everyone who says they miss this person that is dead, you can miss them all you want, but it's not for the right fucking reasons. Don't speak ill of the dead. Fuck that. That person made my life a living fucking hell from early adolescence all the way up until I was almost 30. Ruined my fucking life. As I said before, no one should have to start life over at 19. No one should have to start life over several times between the age of 19 and 30. Like, clean slate, nothing left but the clothes on my back and a fucking knapsack level of having to start all over because of this bitch. Give me a fucking break. And I don't even, like I said, I'm just ranting. I'm here ranting for the sake of fucking ranting to get it out. If you agree with this, that's great. If you don't agree, that's great. If something I have said makes a light bulb go off in your head and go, holy shit. You know, and the hypotheticals like, man, Nano was a fucking asshole. Why the fuck are we sitting here grieving? I believe that grieving is reserved for those who deserve it. That's just me. I grieve over the loss of my best friend that's been dead for 14 years. I grieve over the loss of my coven brother that died 8 years ago. They were good fucking people. They wanted to help people. They did things. They made people smile. People loved them. Not just people who were related to them or were friends with them, but people who didn't know them loved them. They were good fucking people. My father was a bastard at times, but he did what he did to make sure that we could survive. And yeah, we didn't see eye to eye later on. Yeah, I did run his business for him 6 days a week, 12 hours a day for no paycheck for over 2 years. But I did it because he was my dad. And because I knew how much he did while I was growing up to make sure that we had a fucking place to live. It wasn't ideal. And he was a bastard at times. He thought I was stealing from him left and right. Why? Because she was. She was stealing from him and blaming it on me. She wasn't a good person. She was a liar. She was a thief. She was an adulterer. She was an addict. She was a pathological liar like you wouldn't fucking believe. She used to tell people that she would get hired by the state and the FBI to use her psychic powers to find missing children. What kind of fucking whack job does that kind of shit? And, you know, and it's that I'm doing this just because it's to get it off my fucking chest because, I mean, number one, I've got no one to talk to right now because wifey's off having fun and she deserves that. She deserves to be out having fun. You know, poor puppy dog here. He hears daddy yelling. He thinks something's wrong and it's not his fault. You know, he gets scared, but he's a good boy and he knows it. But this whole fucking nostalgia glasses shit, especially nostalgia glasses for something you don't have nostalgia for. Like my nephew openly admits, like, I don't remember a lot from childhood. I block it out. And I'm like, it's a good thing you did. Because you went through a lot of shit, kid. Yeah, I know you're almost 30. I'm still going to call you kid. You know, and he was worried. He's like, I want to put these people on blast. But I'm like, no, don't worry. I got enough vitriol for the both of us. I say the things that other people's are so other people don't have to. Because everyone knows JJ Alexander's a fucking asshole. So what does it matter if this asshole rants a little more? No skin off my nose, no sweat off my back. The pint glass is empty. rather than pour another one, I think that's a good place to end it. If you did stick with this, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know why you did. Maybe because you just want to hear a story. Maybe it's because, like I said, maybe something clicked. Maybe my catharsis will help people realize, especially during the holiday season, just because you're related doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. You know, people say blood is thicker than water. Fuck that. Fuck that. That's a quote taken from old fucking scripture. It doesn't apply. As someone who doesn't follow the Bible, it doesn't apply. In the end, karma gets who they need to get, whether on this plane or another. Like, I don't know what lies for me in the afterlife, but I know that I've done enough good where when I shuffle off this mortal coil, I know that bitch isn't going to be on the other side anywhere near me. And that's the only solace that I have right now. Every time I wake up in a cold sweat, realizing she's dead, she's not coming back. I don't have to worry about her. The only other bit that I can think of is when it's my time. She ain't gonna be there either. That's what that's what keeps me going. People ask, what keeps you going? And I say, spite. It's not a joke. It's not a fucking joke. I mean, yes, I hate the general public. I hate people, but it's not what completely fuels me. It's not what I'm saying, but here I am rambling. And it's not the alcohol, trust me. It was one beer. Granted, it was one of the tastiest beers in the world, baby. If you can get this in your area, trust me, get it. But when you worry about having to deal with those relatives now during the holiday season, if they're truly not a good person, and you know they're not a good person, and they may be ending the near the end of their cycle, I'm not saying celebrate when they're gone, but just know that when they're gone, if you don't shed a tear for them, that's okay. Or if you shed a tear of happiness because they're gone and you know you're never going to have to deal with them, that's okay too. It's all right. People come in our lives and fuck our lives up. It's okay for us to look back and say, they fucked my life up. They're not worth my reverence. They're not worth my respect. It's the same as it's a live person. If a live person disrespects you, you have to be like, well, I have to respect them because they're a human being. No! Who the fuck lives by that creed? If someone disrespects you, you tell them to fuck off and you walk off. You don't deal with them anymore. Same thing with if they die. If they treated you like shit in life, when they're gone, you could say, well, they're gone. One less thing I got to deal with. And you go on and live your fucking life. That's all I got. Thanks for joining me for my catharsis. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm on Blue Sky. That's the handle on the left. I'm on X/Twitter. That's the handle on the right. Subscribe to the channel. Follow the Facebook page. I'm good. I think I'm gonna go to bed now. Because it's almost midnight. Thanks for joining me. Bye. Wrong song. Oh, now it doesn't want to play. What the fuck?